Strategies podcast with our host, Alan Porter. Alan, what's going on, man? How are you?
How you doing? Let me tell you what, the gentleman we got today, Matt Pearson, I met him about 3 months ago, and he's changed my entire financial future for the business I'm in. Not only is he very, very passionate about what he does, just like myself, but he thinks outside the box of conventional financial planning. And I just want to bring up some of the things that he does to help businesses and people.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Good to be here.
All right, Alan, you have the first question, right?
No, you go ahead and ask the one there.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell us a bit about your background and what inspired you to start your current venture?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty simple. So, first of all, Neil and Alan, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. I like sharing about what's happened in my life. Feel very blessed and great opportunity to share here with you guys today. So I started out in ministry, just kind of followed out of college, going straight into ministry, working in a Christian camp. And I wasn't your typical Christian camp director. I struggled with asking people for money. And so what I did is instead of asking people for money, I started reading books and asking business owners to give gifts in kind. And after about 18 years of that, just kind of felt called to go directly into the business world and work directly with business owners. And so in 2003, started a business coaching firm, became very successful in that. Actually, one of the business schools named me Entrepreneur Coach of the Year in 2003. And quite frankly, it had nothing to do with my business coaching skills. It had everything to do with my very first client. My very first client was a tax attorney. And so I was working with him to help him understand how to get into the world of coaching CPAs. And we just started working with all 35 of my clients. At the end of the year, all my clients were raving fans, and it was because we were helping them save money on taxes. That was in 2004, and the rest is pretty much history, just helping business owners reduce their taxes. Seems like everybody kind of likes that.
Why the name Excel Empire?
Name Excel Empire. Well, number one, we wanted to choose something that spoke to business owners. Most business owners, that's what they want to do. They want to grow their business. For us, of course, again, with my background, Excel comes from 2 Corinthians 8, verse 7, excel in the grace of giving. We would definitely want to give back to people, feel very blessed to do so. And the empire is we're kind of like a mission in the marketplace where we call ourselves a City Gates mission. If you remember the story when Jesus was asked, hey, do we have to pay taxes? When his disciples were asking that, Peter goes down and takes the coin out of the fish's mouth, and Jesus says, whose picture's on the coin? And of course, he picks it up and he looks and he says, well, Caesar's. And he goes, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And we kind of follow that same rule. We live in a great country, and, definitely we want to pay our taxes. That's kind of like a given. But at the same time, when it comes to the IRS, we want to be honest, but we don't want to be generous. We feel that the business owner can do a better job of investing their money right there in their own community. So that's the reason why we focus on reducing taxes. So that's the
What was the pivotal moment that led you to pursue your current path?
It was probably during an interview with West Virginia Inc. magazine. They were interviewing me because business school had just named me Entrepreneur Coach of the Year, and they had a program working in different places across the United States. And I was, of course, the business coach. It was in Appalachia, and he's just sitting there and talking to me over and over, and I kept sharing with him that it wasn't the business coaching strategies that got me kind of loved by my clients. They just could not find anybody in the tax world that was helping them understand the tax code. And so as I began to learn about it and began working with the tax attorney that I was working with, it just became apparent to me that this is something that is so needed in the marketplace, and there was nobody that was bringing it to the business owner. And I can give you the personal story of myself. I was doing really well, so I went out and bought the car of my dreams. When I was growing up, I missed the school bus many times, and my next door neighbor would give me rides to school in his Corvette. So when my business started going really well, I went and I ordered a Corvette, and I was so excited. I went to my CPA and I said, hey, Bob, I need to know, tell me how to make this Corvette work so it really helps me to keep from paying taxes. And he goes, well, that depends. And after about 15 minutes, he kept saying back, I said, Bob, if you tell me one more time the word depends, I'm going to fire you. And he goes, no, you won't. Well, that depends. And I fired him. And that's what led me to realize that the average CPA is really good at putting the right numbers in the right boxes at the right time, but they're doing the same thing for everybody. It's very generic. And if we could just really listen to the business owner, find out what their goals were, align that with the current tax code to reduce their taxes, then, we would have something that would really be a differentiator for us in the marketplace. And obviously, it has.
Well, one of the things, the pandemic was terrible, but I tell you, it's been great for my business because I used to travel all over the United States, seeing clients, speaking, and going to seminars. But now 99% of everything I do is on Zoom conference. So what's it done for you as far as Excel?
No, absolutely. Again, the pandemic, no matter which side of the coin you fall in the pandemic had a lot of changes in the marketplace that nobody was prepared for. But for us, it worked out really well. I'll give you a good case study here. I was working with a guy that lives probably not 45 minutes from my Northern Kentucky office. And his name was Chuck, real big in the real estate world down there, about 80 years old, has a couple airplanes. And he said, hey, Matt, if you can help me sell these airplanes, my CPA says I can't sell them because they're fully depreciated. I can't afford to sell them. Is there something you can do? And I said, yeah, basically, let's get on a call. We can talk about it. He goes, no, I'm not going to do a call. And at that time, we were using a thing called join.me. I don't even know if people remember join.me. It was kind of a little bit after Skype and way before Zoom. And we tried to set up a meeting. He got frustrated. He said, I'm not meeting with you unless you come down here. I said, Chuck, I can't do that. It takes me 45 minutes to get down there, 45 minutes to get back. Traffic at this time of day, I might miss a couple other meetings. Halfway through the pandemic, I get a phone call from Chuck's assistant, and she said, hey, Chuck wants to meet with you, but he does not want to meet in person. He's no longer meeting with anybody in person. So for me, even before the pandemic, we had made the decision we're going to be a virtual firm. The pandemic definitely just exponentially grew our potential because many people are willing to meet it with us virtually. The second thing it did was before that, we were just basically marketing by word of mouth. But I had a bunch of people that we were working with that were in the financial services that did a lot of retirement seminars, lunch and learns, things like that. They no longer could do that, but what they could do is reach out to their business clients and say, hey, I've got a guy that if you give him 45 minutes, he can save you 30% on your taxes. So kind of like the little Geico slogan there. But yeah, basically people were willing during the pandemic. They had time to give me 45 minutes. And then all of a sudden the raw results started speaking for themselves. And from that point on, more word of mouth. And here we are today. The organization that I was running during the pandemic grew very quickly to over $1 million in revenue. And again, we were just taking a small portion of the taxes that we were saving from the business for the business owners.
All right. So, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in your career, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, wow. A couple of challenges, the identity crisis when you leave the ministry and you go into full-time business consulting. Everybody has the questions. So that the identity crisis for me, just who am I in that situation was really, really big. But overcame that. And then probably the second biggest event in my life that really is hard to overcome was it's partnerships. As businesses get successful, partnerships become strained. So, and what I'm talking about is, family partnerships, the relationship that you have with your wife, because the things get busy, and as you're scaling up, you're trying to manage work-life balance. So that partnership has strained. In the actual business that we scaled to over $100 million in revenue. Again, I had partners that had made agreements to do certain things, but when they saw that different portions of our different divisions of our company were making more money, they wanted to shift because of, during the pandemic, there were some different tax strategies that came available. And just the frustration with those partners, willing to let clients go that they were working with in the midst of projects just because the partners wanted to shift because it was more profitable for them to do other things. And switch led to that partnership kind of sinking. I basically said, hey, you know what? I just want to focus on helping people save money, doing taxes legally, ethically, and morally. All these pandemic credits that everybody's all excited about, these things will pass. I just want to be simply helping the business owner because in a way that's going to perpetuate it, not only here during this period of time, but taxes are only going to get worse because during the pandemic, the national debt grows to over 33 trillion. Now it's almost $35 trillion. We have one way in this country to pay that off. Number one, inflate our way out of it, which of course we've been doing since World War II, or to raise taxes. And they're going to raise taxes on the people that have discretionary income, and that's going to be our business owners. So, yeah, overcoming that, partnership by basically just coming to an agreement to sell that business, and them giving me the ability to start up the day after with Excel Empire. And yeah, it's been that's been a trial, but again, trial by fire, and we've landed on our feet, and actually have a much greater team now focusing on tax savings and R&D tax credits.
Can you share a specific story about a major success of a certain client?
Yeah, I can definitely share successes without that going into names, but absolutely. I can share one interesting one was the we had a group of guys that was selling an electric business out in California. They were working with an attorney and a business brokerage. And as they were going through the process, they were wanting to get some tax strategies to reduce the sale of the business. And it was very interesting. There was an estate attorney involved. There was an attorney writing up the agreements. And, here comes a little old Excel Empire into the mix. And basically just the difference between treasury stocks and the stocks that the owners had. We made a one sentence change in the document that saved the owners in selling a portion of their business to their employees. We saved them about $1 million in taxes. And, it's funny. The tax code in reality is complex because it is so diverse. But what is really neat about working with a team of people, the tax attorneys and accountants, CPAs that we have on our team, it it's we pool our knowledge. So it's not like you don't, run into something new every once in a while, but for the most part, the combined experience gives us the ability to pool that knowledge and then be able to say, and, hey, would this work? Would this work? Again, most CPAs sell a business. The average CPA will sell $1 million business in their life. Here at Excel Empire, we help people sell their businesses to the tune of $50 to $60 million a month, helping them reduce taxes on the sale of that business legally, ethically, and morally. And again, when you're doing that volume of selling businesses and working with the business brokers and the attorneys, you start to see a lot of people do things the same old way. And just by coming in and asking the business owner what the money's going to be used for on the backside, there's some amazing tax strategies that are literally right there at the door, within hand's reach, even at the last moment.
All right. Well, this is interesting stuff for sure. Uh, can uh, can you go ahead? Next question is, from being on the inside, I hear a large numbers when you speak of tax savings. Can you share with us Excel's process of finding the numbers, and what do you typically find when working with a new client?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question. Well, everything here at Excel Empire starts with a discovery call. We want to make sure that we don't just start with the numbers. Most groups out there that are in our world of tax planning, you give them your documents and they come together and they put together the numbers, and they give you the amount of savings that is available to you through the tax code. What we like to do is we take a little different approach, a little more along the line of what Alan and his successful wealth strategists do, is we want to know more about the person. People are in business for personal reasons. Otherwise, why would anybody deal with the things that we have to deal with in the business world? So we want to know what those things are, and I'll give you a real good case there. During one of our strategy sessions a couple years ago, we were talking to a guy, manufacturer. He starts talking to us about the taxes that he's been paying, and it's just starting to really eat into the profitability of his business. And he said, just right up front, he goes, "I want you to know we're working with one of the largest firms in the country, big four name company that's helping us walk through this process. And I'm basically working with you because the guy in my business group said that he's working with you guys and you've saved guys a lot of money." So when we're going through the tax planning process, we said we won't work with you unless you have this 45-minute discovery meeting. He said the other guys didn't do that. All they did was ask for the documents. I said, well, this is the way we work. So he rescheduled some things, made the meeting. We talked through it. One of the biggest things was he was building a $6 million building to expand his business the very next year. And so he was sitting on about $2 million in the bank. And he said he's pretty set on that. And I said, well, that's a good piece of information to know. When it came back to the presentation, I told him how much we could save, and he goes, well, Matt, the other company is probably going to save me about $180,000 more than you guys, and the price is very similar. And I said, well, that's great. I'll call him Bob. I said, that's great, Bob. But are they making plans for the fact that you're going to have to go to the bank next year and get a loan for $4 million? Because when we do tax planning, it's holistic. We want to reduce your taxes without impeding the growth of your business. If you zero out your taxes, go ask your commercial lender if he's going to give you that $4 million loan. And he goes, hold on a second. He's actually here. And so I don't know where they were in the building, but he brings the guy back into the room and we talk about the two numbers. And he said, yeah, he goes, I couldn't do anything with it. If you didn't pay taxes, it would be really hard for us to approve a loan for $4 million, even if you brought $2 million to the table. So that was a big switch there in that situation where, sometimes people get real excited about saving big numbers, but here at Excel Empire, we want to reduce your taxes, but do it in a way that doesn't inhibit your goals. Like, for example, today, one of the biggest problems that we have, and I had a call earlier today with a large HVAC company. He said, Matt, I'm just going to be honest with you. My goal is not to reduce my taxes. My goal is to recruit, retain, and reward employees because I can't keep technicians here in Atlanta. As soon as I get somebody hired, get them in, I can't do anything with them. I said, well, basically, what we can do is we can help you save this amount in taxes that we just talked about, but we can also take that money and put it into an employee retention program so that, you guys can take and recruit, reward, and retain these people. So immediately it switched from, I don't want to pay for a tax plan. I want to keep these. I want to talk to somebody. I'm going to spend some money on retaining these employees to, wow, I didn't think about that. If I do this plan, I'm going to save hundreds of $1,000s on taxes. That now gives me the money to differentiate myself from my competitors, who basically is just wooing my current employees away by offering them a sign-on bonus. So yeah, it's an interesting job to have. I love it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I learned when I went to your certification course. But not just one of the things. But how do you see Excel Empire evolving over the years
Well,
and the
we're
industry itself?
Yeah, we're still in the infancy stage for sure. I sold my other company in 2021. We started in 2022, and the Lord has just really blessed. Our team is the best proactive tax team I've ever worked with. As you guys know, we've got the preeminent proactive tax attorney in the country, and Ed Lyon. Most of the people out in our industry have been through his classes. If you're in proactive tax planning and you've got a shingle out there that you're a proactive tax planner, I would almost bet 98% of those people know Edward A. Lyon because they've sat underneath him to understand the tax code. Um, as far as, the change and the opportunity, we just recently launched a year ago, the Certified Tax and Business Advisor program, which allows people without a tax background to be able to go out and look and qualify great opportunities for business owners. So um, back in the day, we were working with financial planners. Today, with the certified tax and business advisors, we have people that are coming out of the real estate world. Some of our top agents are, they're not even in the financial world at all. They're just in the real estate world. They're business coaches that are doing this as a companion to what they're already offering for their businesses. So that certified tax and business advisor program, I think, is one of the things that's really going to change the future of Excel Empire, because in the past we were just these geeks that sat behind the video camera like we're doing today and helping business owners. But now we're getting a lot of people boots on the ground with the knowledge, like yourself. That's how we met there, Alan, as you know, going through the course and becoming much more understanding of the tax code and how the tax code can actually be a friend of the business owner.
Wow.
Answer.
Yeah, I've heard you share many statistics as it relates to your industry. Can you share why these numbers are so compelling?
Oh, yeah. So, probably the biggest statistic that most people know in our industry is in 2018, Forbes magazine went out and did a study, and they found that 95% of businesses are overpaying on taxes. And when congressmen found that, immediately they were like, "Wait a second, I'm in charge of voting on these laws, and my constituencies are reading this, that we're responsible for them overpaying in taxes." So as they looked into it, what they found out was the IRS is really the police. The law is made in Congress and the Ways and Means Committee. It's passed on for the IRS to interpret and to implement and to basically police that. And so 95% do overpay in taxes. The one thing that our government doesn't have is an education department when it comes to taxes. You've got the IRS that is interpreting it, setting precedents in tax court, but there's nobody out there that's educating the CPAs or the business owners on what this means for them. So that's really where we're filling a really unique part in the marketplace. And then the other statistic that I love is of business owners, small to medium-sized business, 50 million and less. How many of them, I love asking this question, when was the last time your CPA came to you with an idea that'll save you money? And I can almost guarantee you about 99.9% of the time, you're going to get one of three answers. It's going to be never, it's going to be a curse word, or it's going to be a half chuckle, half sad sigh, because it just doesn't happen. And in the CPA world today, it's not that many of these CPAs don't know some of the strategies. I was talking to one just the other day that we were talking about purchasing, and he said, "Matt, some of the things that you're talking about doing, I know, but I've got 750 business clients. Where would I start?" These guys are working really hard just to get the compliance done. And then where do they start? And then I love this statistic because I do like to be known. Me and Ed are racing, my tax attorney. We're racing to see who wins the title of getting the most CPAs fired. 73% of business owners today would leave their CPA tomorrow if they found somebody that could at least give them one idea to reduce their taxes.
Absolutely. It's something I ask these affluent clients, and they always tell me their CPA, their financial advisor, or their attorney give them all the financial and tax advice. I said, well, first off, I'm not here to replace any of your advisors, but I want to work with them as a team to give you the best possible scenario. But I said, I've got two questions for you. Just like you said, when's the last time you got any proactive advice about saving taxes? It's hardly ever or never. And I said, the other thing I want to tell you, and the question I want to ask you is, you may have the greatest advisors in the world, but it's what they don't know that's going to end up costing you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in undue taxes, fees, and lost opportunity costs. because that's why one of the reasons I brought Excel Empire into my business, because
Absolutely.
I don't know everything. That's why I have experts in their certain fields, and we collaborate together to provide solutions for people's financial problems. But let's skip over a little bit to innovation and creativity. Now, your industry is not known for innovation. Why did you choose the accounting one?
Well, that's a great question as well. I just saw there was a tremendous opportunity when Ed and I started working with my first group of clients. Um, it was almost like nobody likes to talk about taxes, but when you start sitting down and showing how the tax code can be used to your advantage, it was like, oh my goodness, a whole different side of their business just opened up, because before it was just this draining cash out of my business. There's nothing I can do about it. And then all of a sudden, a penny saved is a penny earned, but we're not talking about pennies. In many cases, we're talking
Oh,
about tens of thousands of dollars. And, you know, um, from an innovation standpoint, back then I was a business coach. I was helping people grow their business, but I started recognizing there's nobody innovating anything in the tax world. There's nobody kind of looking for ways to find out how to help specific industries. And so from 2003 to 2008, Ed and I both focused on and real estate investors. And I don't know about you guys, but you say what makes us innovative? In 2008, we didn't have a whole bunch of real estate investors needing
no.
help on taxes. So in 2008, we pivoted because we're innovative, and no, because there was nobody that needed our help in the real estate world. We started working with small, medium-sized businesses, and we found it was totally unserved. And so, sometimes innovation is basically the father of innovation is necessity. And we started working with small business owners. Today, about 85% of our tax plans are with small business owners, and our average savings starts out about 31% federal tax savings. That's a number that I like to share.
Yep.
Yeah. So taxes are and opportunities are set to change in the near future with the 34T deficit. How do
Mm.
you stay current with the latest developments and prepared for these changes?
It's interesting. We're headed to what the commissioner of the Ways and Means Committee says is the Super Bowl of taxes. And as a good tax attorney, Ed asked him a question when our team was meeting with them up in Washington. There was 20 people in the room. Our tax attorney, about 18 lobbyists for the insurance world. And Ed asked the question, where's this going? And the chairman said, we're at a point in no time in history. $34 trillion in debt. In debt, we're running up the debt by like $1 million a day, and there's no end in sight. It's a snowball that's rolling out of control. So in 2025, it doesn't matter who is sitting in the president's seat. So this is not a political statement. Our country needs to change the tax law. And he said it's the Super Bowl of tax changes that'll be coming in 25 and 26. It has to happen. But again, anytime there's tax change, tax code, that doesn't mean that we're going to be able to keep people from paying taxes. But if you don't take a proactive approach, if you're overpaying today, you're going to really be overpaying as these new
Right.
tax changes come. So, it's a huge opportunity for business owners today to start getting on track and saving money now. The way that we keep ahead of it is just like I said, when the Ways and Means Committee has an opportunity for us to have a seat at the table and to find out what's going on, we're going to send somebody there. We've got a great group of I think right now we're at 135 certified tax and business advisors. So, we got a great team of people that are constantly in different forums and chats and groups, and we're constantly looking at what different opportunities there are out there. So,
No, we looks like we need to kind of wrap this up right now. Matt, got one last question for you. You've owned and sold many businesses in your career. What are some of the important lessons that you've learned?
um, wow. Probably some of the the biggest questions is none of us, when we're growing a business, ever think about selling a business. And I preach this to each and every one of my clients. We have quarterly meetings with all of our clients, and once a year, I promise I'm going to ask this question. What's the number if somebody came to you today and said, I'm going to buy your business? What's the number that would be a number that you couldn't say no to? And once they give me that number, I'm going to say, okay, this is the strategies that you have available at your fingertips today. Which one of these align with your goals? And again, it's kind of like that dry run. In my situation, early on in my career, things moved fast and furious. I'm an entrepreneur. Still today, I own 11 different businesses, and I think 6 of them are all revolving around the tax world. But early on, again, I was one of those people when somebody came and gave me an offer and the number was in my ballpark, I would move and I would think I would handle the taxes later. Very poor idea. So I was one of the people that was out there preaching it, but I wasn't living it. But recently, since probably about 2016, 2017, when I started the other company, I started recognizing the importance. I remember taking, I'm not a private pilot today, but I remember taking my private pilot's test, and just how important it is to plan your takeoff, have your flight plan, and have a landing plan. Most business owners never think about the landing. Well, no good pilot is going to get the plane off the ground till they have the landing figured out. And that's what I think is one of my biggest learning points is early on, I didn't do it. It cost me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today, each business I have a regular talk with the team of people that's in that business about and they all know what's our landing strategy. Because things change. Sometimes there's strategies out there that look good and things are moving well with that strategy, and then all of a sudden some court cases come up or the IRS is informed that the law is changing, so you have to re-strategize. But the biggest learning point for me is always have that exit strategy and be prepared, because you never know when somebody's going to come to you and say, hey, I've got a number, and they slide that proverbial napkin across the table and the number looks good, and you say, yeah, let's do it. But I like to have the landing plan done now before I even look at the number.
Makes sense. Where's the best place people can find information on you and go? Where can they go?
Just excelempire.com. That's everything we do today is virtual. All the information, all the different services that we provide. As a matter of fact, you can go on there today, punch in a few numbers, and find out currently an estimate of how much you're overpaying in taxes. So excelempire.com.
Here's something better. You can call me and I can get everything set up for you.
There you go. Absolutely.
Let's go to strategicwealthstrategies.com right now, or call Alan at 910-551-1036. Am I on? Did I nail it?
46. 910-551-1046. My website is strategicwealthstrategies.com, and you can email me at, strategicwealth0@gmail.com.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, definitely contact Alan, and Alan will help you through it all. Okay,
Absolutely.
guys. Appreciate it.
Alan, thank you so much for having me today.
All right.
And Matt, I'll see you Monday.
Awesome.
Okay.
See you guys.